Hey guys, what's going on? If you're joining me tonight, this is my official first scheduled live stream. So you've been watching me if you're my friend, and you know that I've been going on and on with my testing and what you see every week and just new things all the time. Maybe that no one understands totally, but this is what I'm doing. I'm streaming and I want to start doing it weekly, and it's going to be on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. And it just seems to fit the schedule. It's kind of perfect for, I think, most people where they're settled in and they're eating after dinner and everything. And so I see a message here. I am not. This is just on YouTube today. So I'm going to be streaming just to YouTube, and every now and then with that Facebook platform, I'll do it to both, but I will tell people if that's the case. So if I'm going to go to both platforms, I'll let you know, but you can catch me at Coffee Talk and Tech on YouTube and Coffee Talk and Tech on Facebook also. But mainly this Thursday, on Thursdays specifically, I'll just be streaming to YouTube. So, hello. If you're coming in, strolling in, thanks for saying hi. And today is official for the start. So I was presented a new challenge as of 2 days ago. And I don't know if anybody is familiar with Live Streaming Pros on YouTube. They have a great following for streamers, and they're doing something called Veda, which is they're streaming every day. So live streaming, that's actually Veda is for video. They have Veda and they have Leda, which is live streaming. So I'm live streaming every day in April. That's what it stands for. Live streaming every day in April with this closed group. So for 30 days straight, I'll be doing streams based off of the questions that get sent to us, and then we have to come in and live stream, answer off the cuff, which is a great challenge for anybody that's trying to improve any of their live streaming skills. But basically, my live stream on Thursdays at 9 is meant to be really for new streamers and a question and an ask. So this is the start, this is the kickoff, and this is how I'm going to roll it. And so I have a couple of my friends out here, and so Coffee Talk and Tech Thursday nights, happy hour, 9 p.m. Thursday is a good call. Thanks, Chris. I think so. It kind of fits into everything. Thursday nights is one of those nights at 9 o'clock. That's perfect for a lot of people. And I just want to break into the fact of live streaming and what you have to do about getting your mindset wrapped around it. And it's kind of like overwhelming at once, but you got to take one step at a time. So I'm here to make those steps easier, and I'm here to help you set up and answer some of the things that might be difficult for you to figure out. Because there's so many things being thrown at you. And plus, you also have to consider the fact that all this kind of streaming is new and things have changed from 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, people didn't even know what something like a lot of people in the business world knew, but Zoom, or they didn't know how effective it could be used for everyday life. And they didn't know about something called StreamYard. And that's what I'm using to pull up the comments. And these are the kinds of things that are going to help live streaming and make something like this, a one-man show, look as good as it is. It is not easy to figure out all this stuff. So these are the kinds of things that you have to work out and figure out. So here's a perfectly good question that Chris is throwing out. and it's, do you have to wear such big headphones? No joke. Can you look more broadcast? I look like I'm guiding bombs in from World War II. Yeah, well, I don't have to wear these big headphones. This is kind of like what I have with me. I know a lot of people, they just have the things that go around the ears and in the ears too. But to be really honest with you, I'm not going to need this all the time. This is my first live stream, and it's like nerve-wracking when I have to look at the screen as you're starting. Yeah, it's nerve-wracking because you're in control of everything. A couple clicks here or there, or the stream doesn't go correct. I mean, this is not like something I'm editing and correcting. This is stuff that just, you know, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong in a big way usually. So it's kind of cool because you can control it. But I really don't even have to wear these anymore because I can tell that the levels are all good. Unless someone comes in and says to me, well, you know, you're a little bit overpowering or too powerful, or we can't hear you, which I always appreciate to hear from anybody out there, then I can make adjustments on the fly also. So now that I have things settled in, I can actually get those off, you know, and loosen up. But if there are any questions coming in, throw a cue like Chris did before you go and put your question in. So if you take a look at the format, he dropped a cue in the front like that, and that lets me know, because even as we go on, we may have people just you know, coming in and dropping some stuff, and it's not a question, so it might be talking amongst each other inside the chat, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And I want you to do that, and then drop some questions, you know, as you come in here. So some of the things that may be confusing, I want you to ask any questions, or even about setting up a YouTube channel, like the way you go about it. What are your priorities for first and foremost? And so we can go into some of the simple things, and then from there, we'll take each step as we move along. I'm not going to cover like everything in one sitting and scour over it, because there's a lot of information. And if anyone's going to take this ride with me now, they're going to have to start from the beginning and build upon it, unless you're going to be around a little more and you could jump into my YouTube videos. You could probably catch up with a lot of things and learn a lot of things and some of my mistakes. So being that I've only been in this and doing this for a year and have achieved that this level is really not something that everybody's out there and able to do. So it was a lot of hours of working, and my family could vouch for that. And they know, and if anyone knows me, if it's anything, if it's my motorcycles, if it's me rebuilding my Jeep over, or anything that I do, it's ultra thorough. I mean, that is my personality, and that's how I operate. So, you know, I'll tell you a little story about how that works. I have a coworker, and they always bust my chops because I love to break out the torque wrench. Like, I'm changing brakes, I'm breaking out the torque wrench, and I'm torquing everything back to spec. I change and rotate my tires, I put everything to spec. I torque it down, you know, 90 foot-pounds, and then I spin it and double check it. And that's just the way I've always operated, because, you know, that's my family in there, and that's the way I look at it. And it's like, I could do everything I could try to do to get everything, you know, in my hands perfect. So that's the way I am with everything. And I've bought and sold 1 million motorcycles in the last like 10 years. Everybody who's bought one of my motorcycles are super impressed how well taken care of it is, and what, you know, how meticulous I am. So I'm the same way with everything I do. And so this setup is built from the inside out with my mistakes, and I could really help speed people into a position to do a lot better. And so this will really help you out. So let's go and take a look here. I think we got another question. Where do you start once you decide what your content will be? What is step one, foundation area? Okay, so let's leave this up for a sec. And so you know what? If you've gotten that far to be able to figure out what content you're going to be doing, that's a huge step, because I think that's what everybody wants to start a YouTube channel, right? They start like a lifestyle, because it's just, that's like an easy way for a lot of people to say, I don't know what I want to do. So if I start a lifestyle and I'm just cruising around and I'm doing videos, it's a good way to get started, because you're actually filming and then you're taking that stuff and you have to edit it, and then you're improving upon your skills. So I don't really even think that you should be waiting to figure out what your content is. So don't think that you should wait for your content. That you waited too long if that's the case, because it will take you twice as long to figure out how to make things look decent. And that's just the way it is. You're going to be a little cringy when you look at the videos. You go to my YouTube page, you look at my first video 8 months ago and my second one, you're going to look at the last couple and you're going to be like, wow, the improvement is incredibly vast. So even if you have the knowledge, you may not be able to stream like this, because it takes more than just having some knowledge. It takes a good amount. And then from that point, that standpoint, there's a few factors that come into building a YouTube channel out. And a lot of it you may know. So I know a lot of the tech, because that's one of the things that I'm always working with. But I didn't know how to edit one thing. And so that was a huge thing for me. It's like, how am I going to learn how to edit something? What am I going to do to be able to get through that? And that could be like some of the most difficult things for some people, is trying to figure out those basic things of, well, how do I even edit? Because now I can record. I can record right on my phone. And that's right. Pick up your phone, turn it sideways, right? Don't do it in it's not Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Turn that phone sideways, get a wide view of your recordings, get yourself a little tripod, place it on there. And those are the things that you need to do. So, if you have any opinion, jump on here and let me know what you think, and if you have any ideas. But I see a lot of people, holding their phones, and the phone is like really shaky, and the content is never going to look so good. And plus, it's like you can't hold your phone all the way out here and feel comfortable. It's the whole time. And then you end up taking your whole face in the video. Just separate yourself a little bit, have a little distance, turn your phone sideways, hit that record, get yourself a $30 ring light, and at least you're starting, And so that is one step to get going. And I've gone over this too a few times, which is, you don't have to have the most expensive stuff to get going. The phones today, an iPhone, 11, 12, even a 6 is enough to get you started, and then get yourself a decent microphone and roll from there, because the video will be good enough. Yeah, it won't be like this, but it doesn't matter. It's your content that's going to sell it. You're selling yourself, you're selling the content, and that's what people want to see. So go in there, be doing what you do, which is maybe different than a lot of people, and that's what people want to see, being yourself. You can't fake being a good YouTuber. So you're just going to be yourself, and people are going to accept you for who you are. And that's part of the secret to the success recipe. So here's another comment by my buddy Chris. Thanks for being active. I don't care. This is our first day. Someone's got to come in. We got to ask some questions. So editing can make or break a YouTuber. Let's leave that up. I don't think it can make or break a YouTuber. From my experience, and this has to do with you, Chris, came over to one time and you were having a problem with your camera, and we came in and I jumped in there and I said, let's try to figure out what's wrong with your camera. We figured it out. I made a fast video on there, and it was like something that was informative And I threw that up on YouTube, and the editing wasn't so great. It was one of my first videos, and actually it's doing well. It's doing well for me. So I don't think it could make or break, but you definitely it's something that you always should be trying and striving to improve upon. There's no doubt about that. So the free stuff that's out there, that even comes with your operating systems, especially, with Mac, with Final Cut is great. And you can use, the Windows operating editing software is plenty good for most people. And so you can start there, and it's basic enough that you can teach yourself. And then you want to go up from there. I mean, a lot of people don't ever go up from there, but I did something a little different. Thank you. And I went and started using DaVinci Resolve. So I was using the Windows software that comes for free. And then I said to myself, I need to force myself to learn something that is going to be productive moving forward, and I know myself enough that I don't want to have to learn again. So DaVinci Resolve is not something that's totally easy. It's, on the level of Adobe, and Premiere. And I just felt like I got to teach myself this, because if I don't now, I won't do it later. So I forced myself into it, and that's what I've been using for about probably 6 or 7 or 8 months now. So, and that's what I've been using. So, so you want to look your best, and you want to try to do the best you can. And those are some of the things that you take step by step off of your budget. So you're going to have a budget to work with, and that's how a lot of times it answers the questions for you. So Jason, stop. Thanks for stopping in, and thanks for watching my first live stream, because this is something that I'm going to look back on and you're part of, and I appreciate that. What kind of software do I need to connect my mixer to my computer? Okay, so that is the mixer is usually an ASIO driver that gets hooked up PC wise. And then as far as Mac, I'm not sure. I'm not a Mac guy. And so once you have those drivers, then you could use your mixer. Okay. But then you also are talking about a DAW, which is where you pull music into and stuff like that. That's different. You could pay for those. You can use things like Audacity, which is free, and that will connect any of the mixers that you're using. I can show you quickly right here that here is my Rodecaster Pro, and I have several DAWs on my computer, and I use Audacity for my my speech over video, so if I'm doing something where I have to do a little speech over the video, I just use Audacity, and the drivers can be used for that. And I did a video recently actually that has multi-channel or multi-track recording, which is really important, for your podcast, because then you can go separately into each track and make adjustments if you have someone that's a little bit too low or anything like that. So those are the kind of things that you can use. And I don't know if I mentioned Reaper is a free app that you can use too. And that is a free app. And you can use the basic Reaper, and I'm pretty sure like the top Reaper is like $60. And I think most people, if they've never saw Reaper, it's kind of like the same thing with DaVinci Resolve. If you've never used DaVinci Resolve, and I have friends, and one of them I'm speaking to right now has never really heard of it, and he's a Premiere guy for decades. So I told him about how incredible this software was, and then when they go and look into it, they're blown away, because this is what a lot of professionals are using. So you have to look into DaVinci Resolve, and then you look into Reaper too, if you're basically doing that. Okay, cool. This is Chris's friend, Jason, that came in here too. Thank you very much for stopping in. I appreciate that. I happen to have a close family member that's a musician. My dad himself is a guitarist, and he's been on the professional level since, the mid 70s, and has toured with the likes of Kiss and Hall & Oates and stuff like that. So music has always been close to my heart. I absolutely love music. I've never gotten into it, but unfortunately, I do love it. So it's something that is close to my heart. So we're talking about budget, and the budget is going to answer the kind of things that you can afford. So I think that you have to make a decision on what your budget can afford. So go from there. Jason says, thank you. No problem, man. No problem at all. Thanks for stopping in. And I'm trying to see here. There's a couple questions that Chris had asked me here. I don't want to pass it up. So what was this one here? It says, do mics have a big difference like digital cameras? The difference from a Canon M50 to a Canon 80D. Okay, so the difference between, let's leave that up. I'm not used to doing this, and I don't leave. I read it and then I shut it off. But I'll leave it up a little bit. So mics are something that music a lot of times, right, or sound for that matter, is something that changes for everybody. But mics, I think, have a big difference. There's no doubt about it. But then you have to say to yourself, at what level do you go for things? When I was getting started, and I actually just talked about this, and actually I just released a video today showing a couple of my first XLR mics, and go to my YouTube channel and watch it. But the BM800, which I was using all the time, I paid like $30 for it. And I used it with a Motu M2 audio interface, and I used it with my Rodecaster. And the difference that you get from a USB mic to that cheap XLR mic is like 3 to 5 times better. I think it sounds fantastic, and it's not a lot more money, because you'll see that a lot of people, they go out there and they buy certain mics, and you see them all over the place, and then they're up for sale a year later, and then they go and change things. So I think mics do make a decent difference, because and like I said, it depends on different situations. When you have like a noise floor on a mic of 4.5 dB, that mic, the quality invested into that mic, like this one, it's a rarity to have that low of a noise floor. Do you need that low of a noise floor? That's when it comes into effect. Then you have to say to yourself, something like an MXL 990 or 770, depending on what you're using it for, has a noise level of around 15 to 16 dBs. And most of the time, that's good enough for a lot of people. And then in a lot of cases, a lot of people are using a noise gate anyway. So those types of things are all relative to what you're trying to achieve and get out of everything, and how much money you want to spend. Also, you made a mention about the Canon M50, which is one of the hottest cameras to ever be made by Canon. So the difference between a Canon M50 and to your Canon 80D. Okay, there's a couple differences. And the Mark II version of the Canon M50 that came out, that I actually have a video out from 3 weeks ago, if I was to choose one or the other, I would definitely be choosing the Canon M50 Mark II. It does a few more things that are kind of important, especially for me. First, it gives you a clean HDMI. The Canon 80D doesn't give you a clean HDMI, but, and I think I might have explained this to you, is you can use your Canon 80D with manual focus. So what that means is you can use it, you can set it up, and you can sit here just like this, and the focus will be on you. But it won't keep focus if you go back like this or move forward. See how my focus is changing. So, but if you're staying in the relative same standpoint, it doesn't matter. So if you used it for that, it'd be fine. But the Digitex 8 is in the Canon M50. I think it might be 8 also in the 80D or a 7, but that would be my main difference. My main factor would be the clean HDMI. That would be the big one for me. And other than that, the visual difference, no one's going to really take note of. They both have fantastic 1080p. They're both great for having photography, but you also must know that the Canon M50 is a lot smaller too. So depending on what you're trying to do or what you may like. I have to stop for a sec, and I want to take a look down here, and this guy, that's my son right there, Matt's Mission. That's his YouTube channel. That's my son, Matt. Thanks for stopping in, saying hi. I love you, bud. So I just wanted to say hi to him. And since this is my official kickoff night of my Thursday nights, and anyone who stops in here tonight is family. I mean, these people are here for me to support me, and I appreciate that. And it's something that not a lot of people understand, and it's something that a lot of people are really don't do. So for me, it's kind of cool, and it's a big thing, and there's a lot going on all at one time for me to learn. So I kind of love that it is a pretty cool thing here. So if I hope that I can answer all these questions. Let me see here. Let me see, Chris. And this is a big question. Let me see if it comes up here. Most important question. Working from home, most of us, and now doing Zoom meetings or Teams, etc. How can we tell home workers to better monopolize and homework? So I'm not sure what you mean to better, how you tell your home workers. You mean how to be more productive? Or doing homework. Now that's something that's out of my realm. I'm not a teacher. I'm not here throwing applications that people have tried to learn. I think most school systems that are out right now, they're using a lot of the Google stuff and the Zooms, and they have actually other programs that they're using specifically for their school systems. But Zoom does some amazing things, and it's structured really well and has grown to help everybody. It's pretty much covered almost every base like that. And then, a lot of people are doing their webinars right out of Zoom, or there's actually been a couple companies that have come up this past year that since everybody is striving to do webinars and create home-based webinars, that these companies have sprung out. So that's something that's out of my realm, but I know it's out there, and I know a lot of people are using it, and I know it's being done. But I know that I know a couple teachers myself that have done some webinars lately on how to use a lot of this stuff, and that's out of my realm. But there are things out there. But it is something that a lot of people are accentuating on right now. So that's for sure. But here at this point, I'm looking to help people strive with setting up what they need to get their content out. So that's what I'm trying to do at this point. So if people want to look at a certain level, there's a certain cost factor, or if they want to get started, there's certain things they have to do to get started. And that's what I'm trying to achieve with all this, which is to just get people out there and start. Like, just start. You can't wait. I waited for weeks, and this is part of the thing that you'll know about me, is that I'm brutally honest about things. And so I was waiting weeks about getting started to do this. And I kept on saying to myself, I got to get started, because you got to do it, and you got to get better. And this is another thing that I I chose to take this challenge up, like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, which was to stream for 30 days straight in a private setting with there's actually almost 400 other people doing it from all professional fields throughout the world. So I'm making bonds and relationships that may last with other streamers, and there can be a lot of good with all that, because when you start at a certain level with people in a certain group, in a certain area, it's like we all know that we run into each other at a certain point. So we're all there to kind of like help each other and want to grow. And that's what being part of a community is all about. And I really think that this is what it's all about, is it's community. You want to start out and you want to start making those relationships. And this is what live streaming can do. So that's what I want to do. I want to make connections with people. I want to be here to help them make their connections too. And if I can do that, it's like you can't do it just sitting down and not trying. So I had to get up and do this. And then I know what you might be saying to yourself. And Chris says right here, I appreciate this. Love your pod. You definitely have built the podcast and you are rocking it. I really appreciate that. And this is the thing. I was just going to say, you may look at my setup and you may say that he's rocking it. He's doing great, but it doesn't make me not nervous. Everybody thinks on a different level, and some people, it doesn't take them to feel good enough to get their content out to be to this level. But I'm one of those people, sometimes it's like I can't stop at level 1. And so I push, and sometimes it's never patting yourself on the back. And that's like a weakness too. So at some point you got to pat yourself on the back. You got to say, heck, man, this is something that you did in about 4 to 6 months. And you basically started 2 YouTube channels at the same time. And that is something to be proud of. And there's a lot to learn along the way. So I appreciate the compliment. You have no idea what these kind of things mean to me, and getting started and being part of my podcast and my live stream is huge. Like I said, I don't think that a lot of people understand or how serious I am about doing this. And they see me post things up on YouTube, and I know I don't get a lot of responses back. I'm sorry if I feel like I'm flooding, some of your stuff, but some of the stuff is pretty amazing. And I don't think that a lot of the people that are out there, because I've made little things. I've gone out there. I've done a few things where I want to see who's willing to go with me for a ride a little bit. So I'll send an email. I'll make a comment like, we can get together and collaborate and try something. And I want to leave it there because I don't want to be the person that is pushing something that no one's ready for. But the point is I was doing it to these certain people because I think that they don't recognize what it can do for them by live streaming. So they get on Facebook and they make a quick comment and they think that's making a connection, which is they're trying to make that connection. And sometimes that's how you have to start. But also I was giving a few people a way to make connections a little faster. And to be honest with you, which is really crazy, is I was on here testing some equipment recently, going through all kinds of stuff. And then, I ended up going back to my YouTube channel and I take a look, and then just by going live for a couple hours, I picked up like 4 subscribers this week on that alone. So the kind of connections that you make now, you see my videos, and I personally have a harder time making those videos than I do being live. Live is something that is a little bit easier for me, even though it's a little nerve-wracking because if I do mess up, there's not everything I could do to make it all better, but that's just part of it, right? Like, you can't be perfect. You're going to have imperfections, and people will judge you how they will judge you. And so I hope that people will realize that people do make mistakes. And so that's what I count on. And that's the kind of community that I would hope to have and help grow at the same time, which is not to be judgmental on not being perfect, and also just being out there to help each other. And so that's like part of the thing I was discussing, which is, if anybody just wants to start and get out there, pick up your laptop, get yourself a $25 USB mic, get yourself your phone with a little tripod to go on the top of a table with your camera, and you're set. You're set. You can start. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait for the perfect time. There won't be a perfect time. I know. I waited 12 years to start my YouTube channel. I was riding motorcycles with one of my friends that's here, Chris, and we used to talk about starting a YouTube channel with motorcycles, and we would have rocked it if we would have just done it. And we just, for years, didn't do it. And eventually I stopped riding, and I got into this, and this is where I am with technology. I just want to do my tech reviews, help people with streaming, and this is where I went with it. And I always said it, I wanted to do it, and I'm finally starting that mission now. And it started with my son's YouTube channel, which was approximately about a year ago, and then I'm at where I'm at right now. So this is the setup that I have going on. If, from the rear, I have my whole desktop, the computer, and then from the side, I run with this other camera coming from the side. And I have these all set up with a switcher, and in my house, in my room. And this camera is the camera that I use for everything that I do up close with. It's just instantaneous when it comes to like showing any kind of anything off. And so I worked hard to get to this point, and this is where I am. So I really appreciate anyone who stops in and asks any questions or share anything. I'm going to go for about an hour unless something else comes up today. I love you too, brother. Thank you for stopping in. I really appreciate that. I hope that they do. I've learned a ton, and the people and the connections that I'm making right now, I hope that it lasts, and I hope that somehow I come out of this and it takes me to a different level with all this. Just one day alone with me being in this group with this live streaming, I just met and talked to people from Australia, from UK, here, and they're all people striving to live stream. And you're like, well, what does it mean? What does it mean to just, what are you talking about? And I like, how can it help me? And I'm trying to say that it doesn't have to be on such this giant level. And you have a, health and wellness business. You have, you're a real estate agent. You're a fitness consultant. You're, I don't know, anything. It's like you can find a way to tap into your groups. I learned something just the other day, which is that you can live stream to just a Facebook group. I didn't even know that. So if you start your own group, okay, or you're part of a group that does these things, you can just live stream right to that group. And so that's kind of the things that is amazing, because just think about the kind of connections you can make with the super similar stuff, and so you got people already that are similar interests in groups, and then you can go in and live stream and directly make connections with people. And that's what all this is about, is just making connections. And so I don't even know where this is going to take me. I mean, that's part of the ride. I just wanted to put myself out there. I don't know what it was, but somewhere's around June, I think it was, that I saw these people live streaming and getting that interest out there, and people were talking about it, and it just caught my eye, and I was like, I really would like to do that. I would really like to just like talk to people live and have an interaction with them in this way. And so I figured this is what I wanted to do. So along the way, it's not like a waste of money in any way, because all the software I'm using, a lot of it's free. And so you're using the software and everything that I would normally use pretty much to make videos. So it's not that big of a deal all the way around. So I know Chris is spilling his guts out to me right now. He says, dude, your passion rocks. It's not as cool as the rundown of bikes we used to pass near Bear Mountain, but I totally feel your energy. Well, as a biker, do you think technology in bikes is important? Can I buy something without a control wire? Yeah, right? No, you can't. Everything about technology into everything is being integrated. And you look at the new cars. It looks like you practically, in the electric cars that are being made, that it looks like it's the size of an iPad in the middle as a touchscreen. So that integration, and then what's more technology than basically the car taking you somewhere without you touching the steering wheel. So and technology goes on, but AI is the future, and if we don't roll with this stuff and we don't embrace it, it's a fact that you'll be left behind, because the next generation is AI, and it's automation. So it's artificial intelligence, and automation is going to be the future. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It's a fact. So this is the kind of stuff that you get involved with now, because it will be that much bigger. And if you can get into a market by live streaming and control that market that much faster and be into it and reach an audience faster than your competition, then that makes you, the top dog. And that's why part of being on the edge of cutting technology is so important. So you have to break it down, though. It doesn't have to be something that is, super complicated. And so that's part of the things that you have to consider too. So we're coming up on about like 15 minutes left or so on this stream. If there are any other people watching and they do have any questions at all, you can come in here, and there's no silly questions. There's nothing silly. So wow, they just blinked by themselves back there. See that? There's no silly questions at all. And so we're going to go from simple, and we're going to start out, and I'll be answering a lot of the same questions every week, most likely. What is the best camera to vlog with, or what is the best camera for YouTube, or what is the best all around, what is the best mic? And like I said before, there's no best. It's really kind of what is going to fit your needs. That's why there's variety out there. That's why there's different cost levels. That's why there are different people for different mics. And so these are the things that you'll have to make decisions upon. And I can help you do that with kind of knowing what you're trying to achieve. And so those types of things, you take one at a time and you digest it, and then you take the next step. So the first test is just to get started. So we talked about earlier not having to wait until you decide what content you do. That is the worst thing you can do. You are putting things off and not doing yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice by waiting. You can wait all the time. There's all the time to wait, but there's never enough time to get started. So I don't even know what that means. Did that mean anything? But what I'm trying to say is, like, you always have time to put things off because it's easy to do, but it's hard to say, like, let's just get started. And the content will work itself out. You'll ask the right questions and go down the right road, but you have to get yourself into editing, recording, setting things up, rehearsing, breaking things down, and improving. So all these factors are important, and I hope that along the way each week we can take a look at a few different things and expand upon them. And as things come about, I will show you some more things, more and more. If you're interested in what is a good audio interface, I could just tell you, get yourself a used Scarlett. You know, it's Scarlett 2i2 would be the best thing to get. And a solo, you know, you're going to expand always. So I would always go 2i2, which means that you'll have two XLRs in the front and you'll have the extra outputs in the back. And you can pick something like that used for $100 probably. And, you know, I have the Motu M2, and then I also use you saw it on my desktop, the Rodecaster Pro. And no one needs to have a Rodecaster Pro. It's just that I ended up getting a good deal on one, and it does help make things a little easier if you want to try to bring your level up to the next. So that's what I'm trying always to do. And I think that, you know, most people don't believe that I've only been doing this for like 4 months. So my first live stream was on Facebook. I started on Facebook because it was something that was easy for me. I felt more comfortable in Facebook the people that I know in my, you know, Facebook private person. And then I went into Coffee Talk and Tech, and I did a couple live streams in there. And now I think this is my third live stream on here, but this is like a commitment live stream. This is a live stream that I'm going to be doing every week. So at 9 o'clock. So ask lighting on you tonight. You want to ask what the lighting is. Okay. So I picked up now Elgato lights is like the industry standard. Okay. They're very expensive. They're about $200 a pop. And over the winter, there was a sale on, they're called DAZZNE, DAZZNE lights. And what they are lights that are clamped on to the edge of my desks, on my desk. I don't know if you can see, but this pole over here in the corner and that corner, I have two poles and the lights are facing down up on me. So that way I'm not getting that spillage across and you can see everything in my eyes. And then that lights up my whole desktop pretty darn well. So I'm not even using a ring light that I actually have too. And so I have a remote control, and this is the remote control right here. And this remote control controls each light. So I can adjust 1 to 100 in strength and in temperature range. So when I mean temperature range, I mean, you know, warm or cooler lighting. So that's what I use. And these lights went on sale during the winter for about $157 for both of them. And so this was, and it's a good question that you ask, is that this is my biggest upgrade probably all the way around. I mean, the lighting was something I was struggling with. I didn't know much about, and this was a no-brainer. And I really think that it brought my whole level up a lot. So I'm really happy with this one. great camera change. Oh, with the switcher. Yeah. Well, that's another thing right here. If you look down here, this here is my switcher. And so I have 4 channels on this switcher. And so I have 3 cameras hooked up. And then what I have is, and I can show you this, I'm running on StreamYard right here. This is my desktop. So I can show things on my desktop on one of them, and then the switcher controls all the other views. So most people don't even know how to do this, but what I'm doing is you're seeing like this really good, video quality, and I'm bringing in these questions and stuff in a fashion that most people aren't even used to, because I'm not using StreamYard. I'm using OBS, which is the free broadcasting software, and I'm bringing in the questions and these banners on here and I guess this might be over a lot of people's heads, but I'm using custom browser docs. Okay. And so you set up these custom browser docs, and then I can get your questions and pull them into here. Put it this way. Listen, YouTube is awesome. You want to learn how to do something, you go on YouTube, and then it will blow your mind what you could do. So I'm just telling you, this is the stuff that you learn. So I've told this to people before, and I'm going to tell you again. StreamYard can be used for free. You can use them up to 20 hours a month, 20 hours a month. So now imagine if you went through OBS, which is free, and then you just used a webcam like a Logitech 920C on your computer, and you were getting a decent picture, and then you were able to pull questions in and run a live stream like this and be able to pull these questions up. What is like, isn't that fantastic? This is freaking amazing. So I'm just telling you, I'm running up on the hour right here. It flew by, but these are the things that we're going to talk about in depth more, but we're not ready to get to this. We're not ready to just jump in. It's not something that you just go gun ho with this. Like I said, you start trying to think about this stuff all the time. It's only going to just throw you off, because the amount of taping and recording and editing is what you're going to focus on. And that, or if you're live streaming, getting comfortable in front of the camera and making the eye contact and making the connections. So these are all the types of things that you have to consider first. But I really appreciate you asking all these questions. It made it really easy for me on my first live stream tonight to get through. And I know I'm kind of like pulling back the reins a little bit. I don't want to go overboard about stuff and start, because I'm going to probably have to go through this a couple times as this group hopefully grows. And that's my idea, is that we start growing this, and then the same people come in on a Thursday, and I hope that you're home, maybe just grabbing a drink and chilling out at this time, and you can jump on here and learn something new. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. What are you thinking, Chris? Yeah, that's end game. Maybe one night you're going to join me. Are you going to join me one night? I might as well. But this is the idea. Come on in and learn something new and have some fun along the way. Talk about our experiences. Come back in. Let me know how things worked out for you after we figure it out. And then the next week, try it again and make improvements. And that's part of the whole game. But the first step is to just start. Get out there and start. And so, wow. Well, I finally did it. I started the first live stream. This is it, guys. This is it. I'm going to look back at this, and I'm probably going to be surprised, I think. And I'm going to just stick with it, and we're going to grow a community at this point, and that's the idea. So if you came in tonight and you said hi, or even if you stop and watched for a little bit, I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And maybe you watched this time, but you didn't ask any questions because you didn't know where to go with it. I don't want you to feel like you can't ask anything. Jump on here and just ask something simple like, how do I get started? Or when you say the free software, what software? So these are the things that I just want you to know that's available to you by just asking. So if I've piqued anyone's interest, let me know. And all the people that are supporting me today, here's my wife, and I appreciate that. She supports me on all the time and effort that I put into this stuff, which is not easy. And along the way, we just moved, and she's done fantastic with our house, with making it look beautiful. So then my mom, she's always making a comment on every video that I have, and she's always watching every one of my videos, and she always comes in to see me in my live stream. And I really appreciate that. And that's what it's all about. And Chris came in here no matter what. I'm glad you were able to make it. I know sometimes that you're busy, and I'm glad that you were here, and you just, I know I just put out like a few things to different platforms, and it was great that you could make it and ask some questions. And I hope, and I know by talking to you, I hit a few things a while ago, and you may want to try this, and you may want to get started. Just start on a small level. That's it. I mean, you've done 20 years or 24 years of teaching graphic art. You know, you can do the same thing. You can stream and have a classroom and start something. Don't think that you can't, but you got to get started at square one. And I hope that everybody would consider that, because a couple months ago, I didn't think that I would even be on here doing this at all. And so for me to take this step, you know, is pretty awesome. I'm glad I did it. So I want to leave on that note, and I'm so happy that I got this started. It's a start. We started it. So it's awesome, and I'm so psyched. And I hope that you guys will show up for my next Thursday at 9 o'clock again, and shoot off some questions. If you were quiet this time, shoot off a couple questions. Ask me, Chris, thank you so much. Your new home and family is amazing. Love to all. Thank you. We miss you, and we hope to see you soon. I know a lot of people had a very rough year. It's been rough for a lot of people, and keep your head up, and let's keep on trucking and get through it. And I enjoyed everybody who's stopping in, and I got to cut this at exactly probably the time. So even if I can get out here a minute or two early, I got to jump into another live stream. And I just want to say, I appreciate you if you came and looked. I appreciate anybody that that came in and showed me some love. I appreciate that. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Show up, please. At 9 next week. Please? Maybe some of my family members can stop in. I'm so proud of you. I will be tuning in weekly. You better. Okay. Talk to you all soon. Love you. Have a great night. Catch you on the next stream.